going to narrate you a beautiful story named Thumbelina. Once upon a time, there was a woman who had no children. She longed for a child. One day, a fairy heard her wish to have a baby girl. She gave her a seed to plant in her garden. The seed bloomed into a flower. The woman saw a tiny, beautiful girl inside the flower, not bigger than her thumb. She decided to call her Thumbelina. Thumbelina was so small that the lady made a walnut shell as her bed and rose petal as a blanket. She made a boat for her with a floating leaf in a bowl of water. Thumbelina was delighted to have such a happy home. She sat in the boat and sang beautifully.
Unfortunately, her sweet voice attracted an ugly toad. This pretty girl will make a perfect wife for my handsome son, thought the toad. She carried Thumbelina to her house in the marsh beside a stream. She placed Thumbelina on a water lily leaf growing in the middle of the stream with no way to escape. The next morning, when Thumbelina woke up, she got frightened and cried loudly. When the mother toad heard Thumbelina's cries, she went up to her and said, "Do not cry, my dear. You will marry my son tomorrow and live with us forever."
The fishes of the river overheard their conversation. They felt bad for Thumbelina and decided to help her. They nibbled the stem of the lily and soon Thumbelina drifted downstream. She then climbed on the dry land. Thumbelina walked on and on. She had to spend many nights in the forest, so she made a hammock of straw. She ate berries and nuts and drank dewdrops. Soon it was autumn. The leaves turned yellow and fell down. The wind became chilly and Thumbelina's thin cotton clothes could not keep her warm. She had to find a warm shelter somewhere.
One evening, she saw a mouse house in a small field. She went there and begged for the shelter and food. The mouse welcomed her and permitted her to live there. In return, Thumbelina did all his household work. Thumbelina enjoyed the new company of mouse. But whenever she could, she went out in the open and listened to the songs the birds sang. One day, Thumbelina saw a swallow lying half dead on the ground outside the mouse house. She went near the swallow and found that its heartbeat was still beating, only faintly.
Kindness and timely help. The mouse had a neighbor named Mr. Mole. He told Thumbelina about him and said he is very rich and will prove to be an ideal husband for you. He is coming to visit us today. Mr. Mole came to their house that evening. The mouse introduced Thumbelina to Mr. Mole. He was pleased to meet her.
The mouse asked Thumbelina to marry his friend. She was forced to agree though she didn't want to marry Mr. Mole. On her wedding day, Thumbelina was very sad. She burst into tears. Suddenly, the swallow reached there. "Take me with you. I do not want to marry Mr. Mole," she said helplessly. "Sit on my back," said the swallow. Together they flew and flew over the hills, over the sea, and finally they landed among beautiful flowers.
Thumbelina looked around her and found that nearly every flower had a tiny person in it, no bigger than herself. Just then, a handsome man with a golden crown came towards Thumbelina. He told her that he was a prince. Welcome to the flower land, he greeted Thumbelina.
Both fell in love with each other. The prince asked her to marry with him. Thumbelina agreed and they lived happily ever after.